The sixth time this season the Devils have been shut out. They get 31 shots on Darcy Kemper tonight. He stops all of them.
All right, what's up, guys? Welcome to basically a Devils update show. So, just got done watching the Devils fall to the Kings. That was a tough one. I think they just lost to the Ducks. They lost to the Hurricanes. A bit of a schneid right now. And the weird thing is, I don't think that they're playing that badly. I feel like this would be a different story if they just were playing poorly, if they weren't connecting on their passes, if they were playing sloppy, if the effort wasn't there. I think in like the past two games, especially with the Kings and the Ducks, I think the Ducks game was just kind of demoralizing. It was a little bit like that Leafs game where we lost in overtime after just dominating them the whole game. I think with the Ducks game and this one, but like once that second goal with this Kings game went in, I don't know. I think to me it felt like the bench just got really deflated, right? I don't know if they really had any significant push after that second goal in this Kings game, because it just it was already so difficult to get like goals going in, and it's weird. It just seems like these past three games or two games probably. I mean, the Carolina game where they lost, I was at the game they won, so that was great. And they played incredible. Actually, no, I was at the game they won. I was at the Ranger game before the break. I thought they played really well, and just like Sheldon Keefe's saying, like going into the break, the Devils were playing really, really great hockey, and you can see it, right? You could just see how fast they were, and you could see how dangerous they were, and how like it's one of those things where you look at the team and think, man, if they ever were all just if they just got it all together, like every aspect of the team, from the goaltending to the defense, the offense, I wonder what they could look like. And I think like the Ranger game was a big thing of what they could look like. That was a really good game. They played great all around. But anyway, fast forward to now these three games, and the effort's there, and like I think they're playing well. Like at least for the first, when they right out of the gate, they played really well. They put the pressure on. I think sometimes it's just when they play hard and then they get basically out goalied like they did with the Ducks with Dostal. And in this game, I thought Kemper played pretty well. I think there were a couple shots. I mean, there were a couple posts in this game, or was it the Ducks game too? But there were chances I could have gone in either way, right? Like if it was just one bounce here, one bounce there, it could have gone in. And that to me is what's like frustrating is they're playing well, and they're working hard. There's a lot of things to feel good about. I mean, the power play is probably not one of them right now, but just in terms of getting pressure, moving the puck around in the ozone, puck possession, I think they're doing pretty well with. Defensively, I know in the Carolina game they didn't really hold them. There was a lot of shots, right? They didn't hold them down to the whatever it was, minus 20 or something per game. In this game, like the Ducks game, there was 26 shots. This game, there's 24 shots against. Like, so that's a pretty normal, average shot total. But one thing I don't like, I will say though, even though the shots are in a somewhat of a decent spot, to me the quality of chances against is something that's tough. So many times this game, I mean, you got fucking Jake Allen looking like Marty Brodeur with the stack save, the stack glove save, and last game Markstrom, there was I don't know how many 2-on-1s or just odd man rushes and like a breakaway. Like in the Carolina game, there was a bunch of those too. And then when you're watching, I was watching game live in the Carolina game when they won. At least there were still a lot of saves. Had Markstrom not made those saves, could have gone the other way, and Carolina would be winning that game. So I think like the quality of shots is what I don't like in terms of what we're giving up. I think the number of odd man rushes, and I don't know if it's part of the scheme, the strategy that defensively the Devils are drawing up, but I feel like sometimes whether it's Dougie or Pesci, there's a little too much pinching in the pinching and finding the D-men down too far down, like past the blue line, past the tops of the circle. Like for some reason I feel like they're like, I'm thinking like, is there miscommunication as to like who's gonna pinch, who's gonna cover for them, or like and I get in this game, especially also towards the end of the Ducks game, and the end of Carolina game too, like the one they lost. You're gonna have to pinch if you're down, right? Like, I mean, that's not what I'm talking about. It's the ones where like early in the game when the score's still 0-0 and it's still even game or 1-0, like there's odd man rushes, and I'm like how is this happening, right? It's just interesting, and sometimes it's like consecutive. Like every time the other team gets a chance, it's not just a regular chance. It's like an odd man rush, or like they're allowing the other team to kind of get into the house area, which is not ideal. So I think those are the things like that are annoying and tough to figure out. And yeah, I think this game, like I thought they played. I mean, I can't say like better. I thought they played really well in the Ducks game too. It's so frustrating to just see like the types of goals that are going. And let's kind of get into it, I guess, with the goalie interference here, which I thought this was such a stupid call to call it goalie interference, because I don't understand. Like Kemper put his stick there. Like Nason did get into the blue a little bit for sure. Then I think he kind of glides out, and then he's like battling with the defenseman there. So it's not like he can just easily step out right away. But he steps kind of out of the blue, skates out or glides out, and Kemper sticks his stick there. I mean I have to look again, I guess, but like he sticks his stick in there, and then now he can't move it out, and somehow it's on Nason's responsibility to make sure he can get his stick. I don't get it, right? What are we even like? What are we talking about? Like this is like when to me, like I remember back in the day, like goalie interference meant actual goalie interference, right? Like you are getting yourself in the either in the blue, or the goalie can't move at all because of the player. Like it's not like the stick, like barely, like moving the stick a little bit. I just think that that's such a bullshit call. And it's not like, look, yes, it's because it's the Devils, and they lost, and like that could have been a big goal for us. But just in general, you ask around the league, you ask every fan base, I bet, right? They're gonna have at least one story of like this goalie interference that cost their team something, and it's just so weird now what we consider goalie interference. Yeah, so it's such a frustrating thing to like what is and what isn't, and there are times where stuff like I'm there, I've seen times with the Devils like there's way more interference with a goalie than just the stick hole, on the skate, and it's called a good goal because whoever the goalie last year, whether it was Vanacek or Schmidt or whoever, had time to reset themselves. Meanwhile, like there's a guy literally right on their doorstep. It's just a weird thing. And I just feel like the refs have to give more of an explanation other than just, well, you know, he didn't allow the goalie to make a save. Like that's just like you have to be more specific, because like it's a fast game and it's more offensively driven now. I guess that's what the league wants. And so if you're gonna say things like that are not goals, then you better be able to provide a clear outline as to what counts as a goal or what counts as goal interference or what's not, because that just, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I get it. Like I'm a biased Devils fan now. I'm a homer a little bit with this view and this take, but it was to me, it was just a weak call. I didn't think if Nason was literally in his crease or right in his face, if he couldn't even move his arm, or he was in his chest, like, yeah, that makes sense. That's a goal interference. But the fact that it's his stick, and the stick was a Kemper stick, was the one he put his stick there in the skate and then couldn't move it. I don't get it. I really don't get it. That's a big thing that, like, I think officiating this year has been, at least from a Devils standpoint, like we apparently just don't get to call it the Timo Meier thing. Like, I don't even want to get into that. That happened like 3 games ago, right? But like, whatever. Like that, it just wasn't a call initially, but it only became a call, only became a game, a game misconduct because of the fact that they had time to kind of sit there and Natchez was selling it, and then Natchez comes back out on the ice and basically, grabs Meyer or whatever, takes a run at him, it was just whatever. Like that to me is those are the turning points in the games that we've lost that are annoying. That like I can't, you can't believe that that's kind of what shifts the tide a little bit. But yeah, it's frustrating, and I think like in terms of just the way the Devils are playing and what they can control, um, I think that I, you know, they just have to keep kind of pushing away. I will say, and I talked about this in another video earlier or whatever, was like I understand, like I think we're playing well. Like I said, like I keep saying, and I understand that there's such thing. Goalies will play really well, and it's just like, hey, every team's good. This is the NHL, but I think like great teams or elite teams, teams like the Panthers when they win the cup, or the Lightning when they were all winning the cup all the time, and like just really good teams, or the elite level of teams when Avalanche were when they won the cup, just because they run into a really good goalie, that doesn't mean that they like stop executing. I think that that's something that the Devils, for me right now, what I've seen is like it's like that next tier that makes an elite team, makes a good team, a great team, an elite team. Like, yes, there are instances where goalies are just playing unbelievable, but you still got to execute, and you still have to find a way. And I know it sounds like just a stupid, like bland answer, like, oh, you just have to find a way, but like the really elite teams do, and if, just as a fan, right? Like if you want to make it far in the playoffs and maybe hopefully the cup, but like still, like just even deep in the playoffs, you're going to run into a hot goalie. And you got to find a way to solve them. And it's not one of these things where you just be like, well, yeah, we played well, but the goalie was great. It's like, well, you got to find a way, and it's like, I don't think I haven't seen yet this team overcome that just yet. They've overcome a lot. I really love this team. Like I love where this team's at, especially relative to last year and a couple years back. Like this team has been awesome. I really like where the team's at. I'm not at all. This is me kind of being picky, and like I'm not trying to talk down to them or about them or whatever in this, but like I just think too many times this year I've seen like, oh, we just get out goalied, or oh, we work so hard. There's a lot of good things there's a lot of things to feel good about in this game, and I get it. It's true. I agree with it, but I kind of just don't like that. That's where it ends. Like I feel like I still remember like back in 2003, like Scott Stevens, like the Devils played the Hurricanes, or no, the Red Wings. They played the Red Wings. The Red Wings won the cup last year in 2002. They took them to overtime, and it ends up as a tie. Back in the day, they had ties. And there's a story of like Jeff Reason coming in or whoever and just thinking like, oh, well, it's fine and it's okay. And then Scott Stevens just gets really upset at the locker, saying that, no, we should have won that game. This should have been a win. They're the cup champions and you want to beat them. And it's like that kind of leadership to me, like that sets the culture and the tone of like, listen, if we're going to be like, have high expectations, there is no such thing as like, well, we lost, but that's okay. That's just good enough because we played really well. Like, no, it's like you got to win or you don't, right? You run to a good goalie. You gotta find a way. So again, like that's like, I'm not trying to be too harsh on them because like I've repeated so many times, I really like the game they're playing. I think it's been fun hockey to watch. Even in the losses, I've enjoyed the kind of product they put on the ice, like the way they, you lose. I mean, I still to this day am pissed off about losing that Toronto game because they played so well. And like whatever, was it this game or last game where there's two posts, Timo Meier hits the post, whoever did, Brat puck fumbles off a stick or something in this game, like just one bounce or two or whatever, and this would have been 2-1 maybe, Devils win or something like that. But with that being said, like at some point I feel like with the talent, with the skill we have on the team, I don't want to keep hearing, well, we got out goalied and oh, the other goalie played really well, and oh, like they, we tried really hard, we had a lot of shots. It's like, it at some point it's gotta evolve into like, hey, we have plan A to attack a goalie, plan B, plan C, maybe plan D. Like there's got to be different ways they attack because I do feel like in certain games it's like they're locked in on one way of scoring. It's like there were a couple times early in the season where I felt like they were always they're always like trying to find the cross ice pass. Like it seemed like that was the go-to way to get a goal. Cross ice pass. Even if a guy had a clear semi breakaway, he could walk in. It was Brat would or or Jack would take it, walk the circle a little bit, then cross ice pass, right? He would come in 2-on-1, cross ice pass. Come in 3-on-2, great pass from Mercer to whoever, but then cross ice pass again. It's like, why don't you just shoot it, right? Why don't you try shooting that? Or why don't you, like we saw last game, right? Like Siegenthaler got, goal from the point, just throw it to the net, get a tip in front, something like that. Like, I wish they would also in the game change up just their way of scoring and attacking the play. But again, I'm not saying that as if it's so easy to do so, right? Because the other team does. Like there's another team out there that's like, working hard to shut down opportunities and things like that. There's a game plan every team has against the Devils, and but it is just frustrating that like whenever we run into a good goalie or a good goaltending performance, it's like, oh well, we just don't have an answer to that, and I don't think you can get far by just sitting there going, oh well, that's just how it is. But again, I think the the way they've played has been good. I do want to kind of address something here in terms of like the depth scoring. I feel like it's starting to get a little bit, for me at least, into this iffy waters of, okay, like, outside of Jack, Jesper, top guys, Nico, Timo, like outside of the top guys, I feel like I want to see Nate Bastian score a little bit more. I mean, I know Cotter got that one goal, but we got to, get him more. But Halla, like, there's got to be a little bit more production from other guys on the team. I mean, like, I actually liked how Nason's played. I've liked how a bunch of other guys have played. Like, you look down the line, and Mercer, he'll get a couple goals here and there. I feel like I want to see Hamilton start to really like get on a bit more of a roll. I'm very, very impressed with the way Luke Hughes has played. I really like. He's honestly my favorite player this year. Like I know, like Nico, classic, of course. Like you're gonna love the captain. You're not gonna like not have Nico as one of your favorites this year. But I think Luke Hughes for me has been hands down my favorite player so far. But yeah, I think for me the top two guys that stand out in terms of like want to see more production from, I gotta say it's got to be Halla and Hamilton, because like these are somewhat veteran guys, I think, and I mean it doesn't always have to be like goal every game, but like there's got to be something that's they have a hand in creating chances. I feel like Hamilton. I don't think he's injured. I don't know what. Like for me, I feel like Hamilton's confidence is not 100% there. I just think like, like in years, but when you first got him, like he when he's on a roll and he's in a rhythm and he's, getting good shots off because he has that great slap shot. And like, I think for me, like that's what we got him for, right? We didn't get him because to me, he doesn't play like a stay-at-home defenseman. Like there's a little bit of that, like Mike Green, if you look back to the Capitals, it's like an offensive defenseman. I always see him kind of pinch a little bit down the zone. Like he gets in the mix of the offensive side of things, which is great. Like that's what we got him for. Like that's like the value of having Dougie Hamilton on our team. But I just want to see a bit more him convert more and it's like he's got that skill, he's got the talent. I think we've seen it in years past when he's been on the team, like especially that power play. Like he's awesome. Like who can forget, like as a Devil fan, the Rangers when he won an OT. Like he's got that scoring ability, scoring skill. I just want to see a little bit more of it right now this season. Just so it's not like if people shut down Hughes and Brad and Nico and Timo and like whoever on our team, then that means you just can't get goals off. Because I just think these past couple of games, our goalies definitely deserved a better fate than they've gotten, and I just think more goal support would have been great, and it's sometimes like the finesse of like Hughes, like Jack Hughes and Brat, like it's really great when it works, but sometimes when it's only the finesse or it's only the like those speed goals, and there's no like just hard nosed rip it from the blue, get a rebound in front, dirty goal, scramble in front, garbage goal. Like those are also the goals that really can help the team a lot. It's not just the nicely set up, formatted plays of, zooming around in the ozone and then boom, you hit them with a one timer. Like that's awesome, and it happens a bunch with the guys that we have. It's great, awesome to watch. But I just think that there are also times where, like, I remember years back, you think of like the Brian Rolstons or whoever, like a lot of these people who have who do we have, that was Eric Jauna, like just people we could blast it from the point and then create an opportunity, if not a goal, an opportunity in front, get some traffic in front. It's not just like top line whizzing and moving about the front of the net or making plays or whatever and being fancy. But yeah, I mean, look, like it was just a disappointing couple of games. I don't, disappointing in the sense of like, the effort was there. The opportunities were like, the hard work was there, I thought. And that is my opinion. The chances were kind of there. I mean, yeah, it was just the disappointing part is the result. The disappointing part is they came out with a lot of, firepower. You look at the last game, 34 shots to 26 to get the Ducks. You look at this game, what is it? 33 shots to 24. They outshoot their opponents. They're winning more faceoffs. Power play hasn't been there just yet, and like they're getting more hits. Like they're just outplaying the other team, right? But they're not getting the goals. They're not executing. It's like that's the one thing. Is just execute, right? Execute on everything that's happening, and that's what's frustrating as a fan. And like I don't have any worry about the team or whatever. It's just like you look at how well they were playing before the break, and now it's just you don't want to go into a bit of a deeper slide as they are now. Going last 3 games they lose, and who's their next team? They're facing who they got. I want to say it's the Kraken. So they got the Kraken. That's a good team too, right? Like that's a team that you better be careful. Like they're a young team, and I think the Kraken just the other day beat I think it was Utah, right? I think it was Utah Hockey Club. Yeah, they beat the Utah Hockey Club 5-2. So yeah. Overall, look, the past 3 games have not been fun, but to sum it up, I'm not concerned. Like I feel like every team goes through this slide. I mean, look at the Rangers; they're going through a really tough go at it. Even the Tampa Bay Lightning went through a tough start a little bit there. Predators have been going through a rough road, I think, a little bit. Every team is going to have these kind of like stretches of a season. To me, it's just important of how the games are going. How are they losing? How are they playing? And so far, I just think like they've been playing well, but just little things got to clean up here and there. And hopefully they'll get it cleaned up and at least get one win here on this West Coast. I was at the West Coast tour last year, visiting my brothers out in California. We watched the Anaheim game and then the Kings game, and both those games they lost, and that was rough. So same thing this year. So I don't know. Maybe these West Coast stretches aren't ones to look forward to, but hopefully next year they could break it. But I don't know if I'll be going to that one next year. We'll see. But yeah, I mean, we'll see how they do, and hopefully they can turn around next game.